If God can be counted, it isn't God. The real question was never whether there are many gods or one God. The real question is who is asking the question, and whether that questioner is believed to be real. Because the moment that question is examined honestly, the entire structure it rests on begins to wobble. Oneness cannot be fragmented. The instant God is counted, compared, ranked, multiplied, or placed into competition, what is being discussed is no longer God at all. It is the ego wearing religious language like a borrowed robe. One is not a big number. It is not a supreme being at the top of a cosmic ladder. It is not a hierarchy with God up there and people down here trying to behave well enough to earn proximity. One means without a second. No opposite, no rival, no before and after, no winner and loser. Which is why "there shall be no other gods before me" was never about divine jealousy. It was a statement of metaphysical clarity. Anything placed before truth becomes a false god. And the list of false gods is long, familiar, and deeply personal. Identity becomes a god when it must be defended. Fear becomes a god when it is obeyed instead of questioned. The body becomes a god when it is treated as proof of limitation. Status becomes a god when worth is measured by comparison. Belief becomes a god when ideas are protected more fiercely than peace. Systems become gods when structure replaces love. Even spiritual concepts become gods when they are used to elevate one self-image over another. A Course in Miracles calls these idols, but that word is too gentle. They are substitutes, stand-ins for truth that promise safety and deliver anxiety. The ego does not deny God, it replaces God, then panics at the thought that the replacement might be exposed. That is where the jealous, punitive, condemning God enters the story. Not as revelation, but as psychology written in sacred font. Fear always imagines competition. It has to. Without an enemy, fear has no function. Love, by contrast, does not compete. Love does not guard territory. Love does not issue threats. Love does not punish confusion. Which is why a God who can be offended is already disqualified. If God were threatened by other gods, little g gods, then God would not be God. Omniscience cannot be rivaled. Omnipotence cannot be challenged. Omnipresence cannot be crowded out. If something can stand before God, then God was never infinite to begin with. A Course in Miracles makes this uncomfortably clear. What is real cannot be threatened. What is unreal does not exist. The ego hears that and breaks into a cold sweat, because the ego is the questioner, and the ego depends on being real in order to keep asking. So it invents gods it can bargain with, fear, appease, and weaponize. It builds belief systems like security fences around a shaky identity, moral ladders, spiritual scorecards, cosmic referees with whistles and penalty boxes, not to discover truth, but to preserve separation. Imagine a man standing in his kitchen arguing with a toaster. Not about toast, about authority. The toaster burned the bread yesterday, and now the man is convinced it has intentions. Maybe even a personality. Maybe a grudge. So he reads manuals, joins forums, debates other toaster owners about whether this model is benevolent or cruel. Meanwhile, the outlet quietly supplies power, unchanged, unnoticed, unconcerned. A Course in Miracles would say the problem was never the toaster. It was the mind that forgot where power actually comes from. This is how gods get invented, not as causes, but as explanations for effects already misinterpreted. The Course reminds us that ideas leave not their source. Fear projects a fearful God. Guilt imagines a punishing one. But love has no image because love needs no defense. So here is the quieter, more unsettling question. What if the one asking whether God is one or many is the only illusion that needs correction? What if the miracle is not choosing the correct God from a lineup, but noticing that the chooser was never real? When the questioner dissolves, the question dissolves with it. And what remains is not belief. It is recognition. No rivals, no hierarchy, no fear. Just what has always been, without a second.